Hi, my name is Athena Class, and my service quilt is on Star Wars. My service philosophy is an employee should always put their guests' happiness and needs as their main priority by maintaining their professionalism even through personal problems. My not-so-service philosophy is employees ignore the needs of their guests and doesn't adhere to each individual guest's needs or wants and does the bare minimum of work they are expected to do.
So every employee I feel should be responsible, and with responsibility, I gave BB-8 that role just because he had a mission to carry out and he was responsible for handling that, and he did carry that out in Star Wars by delivering the coordinates of Luke Skywalker to the rebellion. Also, for willingness to learn, I put Han Solo for willingness to learn because he didn't believe in the Force when he first met Luke Skywalker, but after seeing so many things through his travels and also having a son that ended up becoming a Jedi and learning, he started to begin to learn and realize that the Force was actually real. I'm also giving attentiveness. Attentiveness is very important to have as an employee. You have to make sure that you're attentive of all your guests' needs. And just like Princess Leia, she was attentive to all of her people's needs and everybody who was in the rebellion, since she was the one who was fighting for their freedoms for everybody. And then my next one would be Chewbacca for respect. He always had respect for Han Solo and for others around him. And you should always be respectful of your fellow employees and also of your guests. For clear communication, you should always be clear when you're speaking to your to your guests. So I put C-3PO for clear communication, just because in Star Wars he did have to speak a multitude of languages in order to translate. And yes, speaking languages is part of guest services, but that's not only. He also had to deal with other affairs, and you have to make sure that you're also telling your guests what they need to know, but it has to come across clearly as well. For going beyond expectations, I feel like you should always do above and beyond rather than do the bare minimum of what you're expected to do. And Finn went above and beyond expectations in Star Wars by leaving the First Order in order to help the rebellion, which is very brave of him. Professionalism is always important too. And so for professionalism, I put Poe Dameron. He was very professional in his work as a fighter pilot, and you should always be professional with your guests. You always want to show them not only the respect, but you want to make sure that by professionalism, you're also dressed to the standards of your work. For patience, you should always have patience with your guests. At times, you might have situations where guests will you always want to have patience with your guests. You may have times where your guests will get on your nerves, or sometimes they'll say things that aren't correct or inappropriate, and you may want to say things back to them, but you always need to have patience. And Rey had patience because she was waiting for her parents to come back, and she waited for years on Jakku, even though they never came back. And that is my service quilt on Star Wars. Thanks so much.